Cool. So yeah, yeah, there we go. So the day one, so today is like what we're gonna concentrate is majorly on the joins, right? And we'll just have a look at like day 1 to 3, what did we cover, and if there is any major questions or doubts that you guys had on the first 3 days of class, then just let me know on the call, right? So we'll try solving it or we'll try addressing it, right? So and this is the general query structure. So is there any question or thoughts that we have? No questions, no thoughts? Hello. Uh,
No, Balaji.
no questions. Okay. Okay. So, okay, let's then get back to our class and then let's look at what was the day one that we covered, right? So we just looked like how to create a DB, how to drop a DB, how to create a table and drop the table, and like insert values into an existing table, and write a select statement on an existing table and use where clause as a filter, right? So this that we covered on day one, and we just looked into different data types that we use in SQL, and different aggregative functions that we can use on any of the numbers that we can use in SQL, right? And the this was the day two agenda that we were trying to cover, right? And then it's like top 10, top 5 star kind of a class that we were trying to discuss, and then like then we just looked in like how to import the data from an Excel to SQL. So like I said, by the end of the session, I will walk you guys through this particular thing where, a set of slides that was prepared by Anamika, where we can actually look how to import a sample Excel file. And when you have this kind of an exception, what is that you will have to download and install, right? And also we will look at like how to install SQL on your local machine, and if that helps, right? Okay, fine. On the day three, we majorly covered on and an or clause. I know that we didn't look at the update query. We'll park that for now, right? But we will come back to that later, right? Delete we have seen, like clause we haven't seen, yeah. And here we are for the joins, right? For the day four. So see, if you have the joins concepts in place, right? So everything else will be like easy for you to learn, right? So if this is the place that it's super important for you to focus on, or like this is what will actually help you to make sense out of existing data in your business system, right? Okay, so any questions? No questions? So why joins? What are the other topics that we covered, or is there anything else top priority for you guys? Any other different thoughts?
Balaji, if you can tell what joins is, like, that would be useful.
Right, right. Yeah, sure. So joins is very simple. It's as the name suggests, it's you're just trying to join two different things, right? So as usual, let me just again open up Excel so that it'll be easy for me to explain for people who's trying to understand why do we need joins, right? Let's take some of the sample data set, right? So generally, how do we join two different set of tables like this in Excel, right? Let's assume this is table one, right? Let's say name table, and we will call this as Dept table, department table. Okay. So in Excel, does anyone have any idea like how do we join these two sets?
You need to join,
We
you
can
can
use concatenate.
concatenate function. Yes.
No, meaning to say, okay, fine. Let me put it across in a different. This one minute.
Okay, you meant merge. We can wrap the
Right,
text.
right,
Yeah,
right. 1 minute.
merge.
Yeah, yeah,
Merge.
cool. Okay.
Merge is the option. Merge and center you have, you can do that. If
Yeah,
that's what you asked.
yeah, yeah.
And Balaji, I don't know the
Yeah,
name. The person who asked why do we use join, I think we need to give the practical information about, I mean, whoever asked that
yeah,
question,
right,
in our industry, you will not get data in one table only. So
right.
there will be like multiple tables, there will be 10, 15 tables, and you need to fetch a single attribute from all the table, right? For example, you will have order in one and
Right.
rep ID in another. So when you have to take the different attributes from the different table, that's where we use join. So it's very important for everyone to learn how we use that and when to use which join.
Right. That's really very true. Well said, Varsh, right? So we should definitely look
Thank
into
you.
it and explain that as well, right? So yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. Yeah. So
Okay.
just to give with the example of what Varsh was trying to explain, right? So let's say, for example, I have seen this particular use case, right? So let's say finance will have something called as, let's say in the actual use case, right? So let's say finance will have some data which is like for a customer number level, uh, right? You will have some kind of let's say Dept, right? And let's say sales is another table that we have, and we have customer number, and let's say we need to link in the finance table you will have this Dept information. In the sales table you will have the revenue information, right? So obviously the salespeople doesn't have to look into the depth information always, right? The same way the finance doesn't have to maybe look like how many orders went through. For them, like having the cash to be received, or let's say having the right payment method, and having the right credit number on it, that matters a lot. So when you join between these two tables, right? So you can mix and match the information that you want, right? And this is what it means by RDBMS, right? So it's like a relationship database management tool, right? So it's like basically you're trying to connect two different data sets based on a particular column, right? So let's say, for example, this is the key column for table one, right? I mean name table, and this is the key column for department table, right? Using these using these columns like ID, you can, like, let's say for example, if you wanted to populate salary here, right? Which is coming from what? Table 2. So this is your table 1, right? And this is your table 2. So from table 2, let's say you wanted to take the salary, right? And all of these are in your table 1, right? Or let's say all of these are by default in your first table, right? And let's say table 2 has this information and you wanted to replicate it here, right? So how do you do it? So in Excel, obviously, I was expecting someone to at least shout, like saying we look up, and no one answered that. Like, you have this particular table, and you can join between this set of data and this set of data using your VLOOKUP, right? Or any other method, like, say for example, index match or whatsoever. But let's not look into the Excel because that's not the part that I wanted to concentrate for today's class. But yeah, let me just do a quick VLOOKUP, right? So does it make sense? Why do we use joins? Awesome. So we just did a VLOOKUP, and this was table 1, and this is like, we just looked into the table 2 and we just picked up this information and matched it here, right? So let's say, let's assume, if I don't want to confuse you guys, let's, 1 minute. Let's say this is your, I'll delete this part for now, I don't need this. And I just wanted this department and salary to be added here, right? So what I can do is, like, can do a quick VLOOKUP here. I can't do this way. 1 minute, my bad. So okay, so this is your table 1, and this is your table 2. Okay, and I just wanted table 1 and table 2 to be joined so that I could make some sense out of this data, right? So let's say you have this, and name is, what I'm looking for, the department, right? Just on fourth column. So I'm gonna take 4, 0, paste the same. And I'm gonna take the salary as well for the same ID. I have it here, and that's in the fifth column, right? 5 comma 0. And I got a name error. 1 minute. Comma 5 comma 0. So we did this simple exercise with what? Simple Excel, right? I mean Excel formula, right? So this is your table 1 and this is your table 2, right? We just join these two using these two columns, right? I mean using these this function called as VLOOKUP, right? So now how do you do this in Excel, right? So I mean, sorry, SQL, right? That's something that we're going to look at, right? So why do we have it split in the first place, right? So like Vash was trying to explain, right? So basically, let's say this is your first data set, and this particular data set, let's say this is used across for different departments in Dell, right? So let's say this is our employee ID and this is our name. So HR also would need the same information, right? And then let's assume that sales team also needs the same information. So imagine they don't need the salary for everyone to be known, right? So in this case, let's say it makes a lot of sense for you to keep the data split into two different things, right? Two different data sets. So it's like, let's say I don't need, maybe tomorrow if I need, I can create another third table here and say that it is like your reporting manager, right? So let's say this will be your reporting manager table, right? So this I will call it as manager, and let's say we'll change the color here. We'll give a weird color like this, and we'll say manager, right? So let's say manager will be M1 for these two and M2, I mean M2 for these two. Okay. So let's say I can add another column right here and bring this one also here, right? Let's say, for example, manager I'm supposed to paste, right? So let's say up off. Now let me just copy paste, right? So I just need this information. So I have joined three different tables, right? So for HR, maybe the manager, reporting manager is important and the salary is important. But a sales guy, he shouldn't be letting to be known like what is the salary of another department guy, right? And email is maybe something that is needed for everyone, right? And again, this is like kind of a dimension table like everyone is going to use, right? And where you can actually make sense out of this three tables by joining together by using this ID as a column. So this is the common thing that you have between all of these tables. Does it make sense? Can we look into the SQL version of it so that we will try understanding this version? So does anyone has a question in this level itself?
No.
No questions? Surprised. Okay.
It's a simple VLOOKUP like what you have
Right,
done. Yes, sir.
right,
So I
right.
agree.
Yeah, we just did a VLOOKUP. Now we're gonna do this in Excel, I mean SQL, right? Let's try that. Okay, cool. So as usual stuff, just we can start creating these tables. So how do I connect it? Everyone knows. So I'll just go and connect it to my local server. I just have given a small dot here, then say connect, and it is connected. And I can click on this to look at the list of databases. I'm gonna pull this up, keep it here, and then say use in front of it so that I'm changing my, okay, this is biggest, this is still connected to this server. I'll have to just click on this, right? And then say Control N so that the new window comes up. And it's already in the training data set. But let's say I wanted to move from training to the training 2, what I can do is like I can say like training and then say 2 and then just press this execute button. Now it changed to training 2. Or easy way, I could have clicked on this drop down and I could have selected this training 2. Okay. let's create the table for the first one that we need. So let me put this side by side so that it'll be easy for all of us to follow, right?
Bala, is that possible to to import one table
Mhm.
from one
From Excel.
database to another? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
from
yeah,
one
yeah,
database
yeah,
to
yeah.
another.
It is possible. So even from you can even import or export or do it from cross databases as well, right?
For example, we are creating one temp
Hmm.
data that
Hmm.
we have temp underscore one work underscore db,
Okay.
and then we want to move it to the to any other database. Is that
Uh-huh,
possible?
uh-huh. Yeah, 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 yeah. It is very much possible. So you can shift from one DB to the other, or you can shift from one data source to the other, maybe from Oracle to SQL or SQL to Oracle or Teradata to SQL. So for example, right? So good question, by the way. So let's say I won't take a lot of time, but let me just give you a brief of this, right? So let's say I have this particular table in training, okay, and I'm currently in training 2. So for me to access this data, let's say if I just run a stop 10 from this, obviously it'll throw an error. Why? Because this is not in this training 2. But if I change it to training and then run this, you see that the red mark went away, right? So now I get the data, right? So let's say if I wanted to be in training 2 and run this data, all I do is training and then say a double dot. That should be after the database's name. Oops, am I not pulling the right thing? DVO. Yeah, let's try this. Oops. That's because already I am in training. I should move to training 2,
It worked.
right? Yeah, 1 minute. Say this. Huh. Weird. Okay, sorry. This is not the table name. So instead of table name, I'm searching for the DB name to the DB name. So this should have been this way around. Yeah. So you are in training 2 and you pulled in a data from sheet 1 and that is in training, right? So basically the way that you access one table from another DB, which is not your current DB, is using these two dots, right? So now you can even join, let's say if you have another table here in our training too, so you can let's say for example, this is the same data that we have it in the finance data as well, right? So let's say select star from this will work. Why? Because this is currently in your training two data set, right? Say you can join these and do further things. But that's like slightly off topic, but yeah, just wanted to give a quick thing on it, right? Any doubts, Vash?
No, Bala. Okay.
Awesome. So let's start creating these three tables real quick. And for now, let's ignore this part. So it'll be like leading to confusion. So let's focus only for table one and table two for today, and let's see how it goes from there. Right? Awesome. So create table. Name table ID. So I just created a table called as name table. Let's look at the structure. Select star from, and there is nothing but just ID and name, just a simple table with which has no data in it. Insert data, I mean values into sorry, insert into
Table
values.
name. Mm.
Yeah, so you just have to like say one and name one, right? Let's see if this works.
One will. Okay.
Yeah, it'll
I think
treat
it's
like
not
a.
important to put numbers in
Yeah, but
comma.
yeah, that's right. But I had declared it as a varchar here. So
Okay.
let's say if I don't do, let's see how it looks. Oh, it still inserts.
It
Wow,
works.
Varsh. Good, good. I didn't know that.
Varchar
Uh,
works for
mhm.
both
Oh, is it?
actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
It's a variable character.
Okay, cool. So I just deleted that. I'm gonna copy this. Okay, for now I'm just gonna copy paste this 4 times. Let's quickly prepare the data set that we need. 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So all the 5 commands ran together. Let's see how the data looks. Yeah, perfect. We just need this exact same way here, right? Cool. Let's create the second table as well. What is that? Dept table, right? 1 minute, guys. This won't take a long time.
I think name is a reserved word, so you need to
Right.
change name.
Yeah, for now, I can keep it like this. It wouldn't cause an
Will it
issue,
work?
but yeah,
Last time it didn't work for me.
it should work. So if you want or insist to be like making sure that it is not looking like 1, so you can put a square bracket to that, but for now I'm not doing it. Yeah. So you have this, right, and then the department table. So let's look at the structure of this second table once. Yeah, nothing is there. It's just a plain and simple table that we have, right? And let's start putting values into it. Hey guys, just stop me before I go too fast. Like, it doesn't make sense if you guys don't understand or don't follow, right? Okay, for now, I think I can. Okay. I'm just giving a number here, okay? 4 rows we have, and we have here 2, 3, and 4. 3 and 4, right? Okay. So let's just put this value in. Yeah, any questions, guys? Someone on the call? Okay, cool. Now we have this 2 set of data that we need, right? And we can try writing a join statement on them to see if we are able to do a relationship between these 2 tables, right? So you see this ID, I just ran these 2 things together, right? So, and I just got this result. So you have this ID and you have this ID here. So this is the key column that we are going to use between these 2 tables to join, right? Let's just start that real quick and see how it works. So by the way, there are 4 different types of joins, okay? So the first join is the inner join, right? And the left join, right join, and the full join, okay? So yeah, to tell you in brief, right? So basically inner join is something, let's assume the easiest way to explain this is with the Venn diagram, right? So let's say there is table A and table B, okay? So if you're trying to join 2 different tables, right, there is going to be some common items between these 2 tables. Like let's say in our case, we have both this data set, right? Let's say this also has 1, 2, 3, 4, and this also has like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So everything is so common between these 2 tables. So it's going to be like giving you every single result that is there, right? So then the left join, right join, and full join, let's just go there when we are looking into it. But let me just give you the basic first join, the inner join, right? Select star from. To reduce the complexity, I'm just giving a star here, not calling out the specific fields, but let's do it if it is necessary, right? So I'm gonna say department table as table A, right? And inner join. So by the way, inner join, if you see, this is a resolved keyword, so it looks in gray color, right? And then okay, first let's keep the name table, which is your table A, and then the department table as table B. Okay. So this is how the general syntax of join statement looks like, and once if you have this, still this regularly is how it looks, right? So this is how you generally write a select statement, right? And then is when you're gonna write a join type that you want. So we are going with the inner join, and you're giving the second table that you wanted to join with the first table, and you're giving a alias name for that, right? So I'm just calling this as table A, and I'm just calling this as table B. So this is just the alias name. So I don't want to type in the complete table name kind of a thing. Instead of this, I can call it like just A, right? So let's say I'm gonna say this on condition is something that explains based on what I wanted to join this table and this table together, right? Remember, guys, so these two tables have the same common items like ID and ID. I'm just trying to join these two tables based on the ID again. I mean ID for the first time. So A dot, as soon as I said A dot, it just listed like, ID and name, right? So I'm gonna select the ID one. And similarly, B also will have this list of fields, and ID is what I had to select. So let's say plain and simple, just a select star, and I have joined it. So what will this result is like, this will combine these two data and give me a plain simple result, right? So this is how the data looks when I do a inner join. Okay. Oh, so it is like you have ID. So let me copy it with the header so that it looks a little better. So you see this? It's like ID is generated twice. Why? Because I did not call out specific, because table A also had it, table B also had it, so it got repeated twice, and even the name got repeated twice. But the point that we had to observe is that we were able to do this, right? So basically we got the department and salary together, right? So any question, any just before we even step into the actual complexity, is there any question like how did we use the
But
join? Yeah,
Bala, again, can you go back to the Excel?
yeah, yeah.
This department and salary that we need, we can just retrieve this information from the department table itself. There is no need of table A in that.
Yeah, agreed. But let's say if I wanted to add another table, or I just wanted to look at like ID and let's say at the ID level, I just need a salary, right? In this case, I had to join these two, right?
Can you go back to the Excel? I think ID is also there.
ID is there, obviously, but let's say in this table, we don't have salary, right? So when I do this, for a given ID, I get a salary, right? Or let's say email ID is something that is not there, right? So I'm going to call that email ID from table B, right? So if you just had your table A alone, you wouldn't have had the
Yes.
email ID in it, right?
Huh.
So in this table, you don't have email ID in it.
Yeah,
But
that
in this
makes
table, you
sense.
have, yeah, in this table,
So
you have email ID, yeah. Yeah.
you have to mention the attributes that you require in the select itself.
Right, right. So yeah, I had to say that, and you're right. And I didn't want to bring in this complexity in the first place. I just wanted to explain it with a star. But yeah, if this makes sense, yeah, it would be good to have this kind of an information, right? So let's say your A dot name is needed. I'm not going to repeat the name twice. So what is the third thing that we had? You had to bring in the department, right? So instead of email, let's say department, right? And let's say if you run this, this is just a plain and simple inner joined result that we got, and it just clubs two different data set, two different table, and give us this result, right? So basically, this part of your name and ID comes from table A, and department comes from table B, right? So this is your inner join, right? Any questions on the inner join that we had just seen? So by the way, inner join will only give you the result if the ID is present in both A table and the B table, right? So that's the point that I'm about to make next. But yeah, let's hear it from the people. Do they have any questions? The basic syntax of like how the join works or anything like that? No? Yes? No? Yeah, I think someone's mic is not working. I can hear the mind voice. Is there any questions? Yeah, Ashok.
No questions, Balaji.
No questions.
So Balaji, we are good with it, but again, if you don't mind, like, can you please delete the whatever the select inner joint you did, right, and do it from the first,
Okay.
so that
Okay, I just deleted it by the way. So let's just once again try doing it. Right, select what do we want to? Okay, let's put a star from name table first, right? And we'll give it a alias name like A, and we'll say inner join, and call the second name like department table and say B, right? And now we'll give a on condition on A dot ID is equal to B dot ID. And now we'll go on edit this part like A dot ID and the B dot ID, right? And from A dot ID and A dot name, right? And from B, what do we need to pick? Is it the department? Yep. So we can take it this way, and we're gonna execute. We get the result this way, right? Any questions, guys, on the inner join? Okay, by the way, you can introduce your complexities here, right? Like let's say distinct, right? Or you can group it. I mean, it doesn't make sense in this case. Doesn't make sense in this case because already it's gonna be distinct. There is no duplicates at all. But yeah, let's go to the complexity later. But yeah, this is the plain and simple inner join, right? Any questions on the simple inner join?
Balaji,
Alagiri,
this is
that helps. Does that helps?
yes, yes, yeah,
Awesome.
Balaji, this looks simple.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Someone was about to ask, is it Wash? Wash, you have any
yeah,
question?
Balaji. This one also we call self join.
Self join, right? So don't come bring in that complexity for now. Self join is like, let's say if you wanted the same table to be joined here, let it be inner join or any join based on a particular condition, right? That is considered as a self join, right? But it is not. It is not inner join. Self join is different from the inner join. Okay. Did that answer? I mean, we'll look at the self join later, but don't bring that complexity here.
Okay, okay.
This is table A and this is table B, right? These are two different tables. Let's say you wanted to join these two tables instead of this two different tables. You wanted to join the same table again, right? And based on a condition. In that case, yes, that's considered as a self join, right?
Understood.
Okay, cool. So this is our how to write a lengthy command, guys. Inner join, right? And let's go to the left join. Okay. Yeah, before that, let's look at the complexities and things that comes handy when you use this inner join. Okay, so let's say you have a new table, that is a new row that is introduced, and let's say that is your column, fifth row, and that has the value 5, and this is going to be your 5, right? Okay, so I just inserted another row, and let's look at the name table now. This has an extra row right now. And this table, I'm not changing anything. So if you run this two things together, so this has 4 IDs and this has extra 1 ID, right? So in this case, it will not return 5. Why? Because it is an inner join. Remember, guys, so the Venn diagram as it suggests, so the ID should be common between table A and table B. So only then it will bring out the result if it is a inner join, right? So that's the beauty of inner join. So basically the ID should be the ID that you're joining on, right? So it should be present in both table A and in table B. Only then your join condition, the final result from the join query will give you the result. So you're getting it? where the inner join comes into picture. So that's the major difference between the inner join and the other joins, right? Inner join will give you the result only if the record that you are trying to search from table A to table B is available in both the tables, right? So you see that number 5 is missing here. That's because in table B you don't have that data, right? Let's run all of these three things together. So you see this table, this particular table has fifth element here, right? So, and the other table did not have that fifth element. So when you did an inner join, it didn't give it. Why? Because the number 5 is missing in another table. So even if it is missing in any of the table, it won't give you the result. So that's the speciality about the inner join, right? Question, guys? Questions, guys?
Yeah, Balaji, here
Yeah.
you have given
Uh-huh.
on a dot id
Hmm.
is equal to b dot id. So is
Right.
that necessary
Yeah,
to
you had to.
give the same names in both the tables to that
Not
column IDIA,
necessarily,
or
not
we can
necessarily.
do it?
No, no, you can change it. So why
Like
I
department
gave
ID and
specifically,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So why I gave specifically like A and B is because SQL will be confused if you don't give specifically which particular table that you wanted to. I mean, which
Yeah.
particular ID you are referring from, because both the tables, I mean, both the tables have this ID as a common
ID.
element, right?
Yeah.
So if you run this now, you will get a error saying that ambiguous column, right? So you have to be specific, like A dot. And by the way, you don't have to be like ID doesn't have to be like exactly ID. Here you can call it as
Okay.
identity. But unfortunately, at the time when I created this table, right, I
Yeah.
had this as ID, and I had this also as ID, right? But if you don't
Okay.
like it, we can change from ID to ID identity or something like that, right? You
Yeah. So only data should be same, or like 1, 2, 3. That ID, whatever data is inside that call.
right. So let's say I'm just gonna drop this, right? And now this particular table, instead of ID, it has it has identity underscore one, right? So I'm just gonna insert data into this, and let's see how the data looks. Now it is like identity underscore one. So now this has a issue with this one. Why? Because ID is no more found in that. So let's say b dot
Yeah.
identity one, and now you do this, it will give you the result, right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, Balaji.
Okay,
Thanks.
awesome. So yeah, hey guys, if there is no question, or if you just keep the question to yourself, it's not gonna help at all, right? So SQL is like a horse, okay? So you can, with the horse, you can just, make the horse to run, or just, make the horse to take a nap, or like, you can make anything with the horse that you want, right? So more the time that you spend on the screen, so more you will learn on SQL, right? So yeah.
Balaji, can you please change that identity to something else? Like, can you please show the table?
Yeah. Is it the department table? Identity,
Anything,
yeah.
probably to email ID. Will it work?
So it won't. Why? Because it
It's a
first
different.
thing,
Yes. Okay.
let's
So
say, let's
probably
say, let's say for example, b dot email ID. So there is no common element between this and this, right? So this will not return anything because the ID has like values 1, 2, 3, and email ID has like n1 at dell.com kind of a thing, right? So obviously it will not give you the result. So it should be like sorry, identity and ID, right? So only then it will give you the result.
just a replica of a VLOOKUP, right?
Right, right. Yeah. So
So,
it's like,
but what
yeah.
I can do is in the place of B, I can give name because name is again a common.
Right,
Uh,
right. Name and name, yeah, you can give. Let's say, for
no,
example,
what I'm saying is A ID and a B name because again it's the same.
A ID and B name. No, you can't.
You
Why?
can't.
Because
Okay.
no, you can't give that. So the reverse is like, let's say, for example, A dot name, you can do it with B dot
Name.
name, right?
Name. Okay. Okay. Okay,
This way it'll
Balaji.
work,
Got it. Okay.
right?
Got it. Got it.
Because in our peculiar case, we have both the name as a name is also a common element between these two, right? Okay. Can we go for the next join, the left join? Are we clear, guys? No? Yes, maybe.
Yes, Balaji.
Awesome. So for me to change this from year to year, all I had to do is a left join. Okay. So basically, what changed from the inner join to the left join is just this particular keyword here, right? By the way, there is a particular thing. Like, don't get confused if someone is saying left join, hey, left outer join kind of a thing. Both are same. It's just a fancy way to call left join. Okay. So if you put this or if you don't put this, it's all same. So yeah, let's look at this way. So basically this will give you the fifth element. Why? Because everything that is there in this table A should be written. That's the rule if you're using a left join, right? And how does SQL decides which one is left and which one is right? The first one is always your left, and the second one that you're trying to join will be your right, right? So what does the left join here means is that irrespective of whether that ID is available in table B or not, I just want that entire set of result. If it is not there, just populate a null over there. I don't bother, but I just need the result. That is what left join means. Okay. Let's for the sake of introducing some kind of a complexity, right? Let's insert another row here for your 1 minute. Let me look at the yeah. This is the table, right? So let's say I have 100 here, and name is like 100, and then N100, right? And let's say 400. And let's insert this, right? So let's see now this has like 100, which is not there in the first table. If we run this two select statements together, right? So let's say this has four, I mean this has five in it, and this doesn't have five in it, and this has 100 in it, and this doesn't have 100 in it, right? So let's run this inner join once and see how it works. So inner join will give you just 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? Because all of those four is what is common between the table A and table B, like how this the Venn diagram works. And the same way, I mean, let's for me for now, let me just delete this name and name thing because it's all the same. Okay. So the left join is something that will give you number 5. Why? Because it's in the left table, right? And this null is why? Because you don't see this number 5 in department table, right? And since it is not there, it's gonna populate null over there. We are there? By the way, yeah, if we say left join or left outer join, it doesn't make any difference. Right? Okay. Yeah, I know it's a little dry, right? So once if you have the basic in place, then it would make sense for looking into the actual data and solving something which is actually a business problem. But without learning basics, you can't do that, right? So are we good with these two joins, the inner and the left join? So basically, inner join will give you the result if the join condition has joining columns has the common element across both the tables, right? Only then it will produce the result. And the left join will give you the result only if I mean, the left join will give you irrespective of whether the right table has the data or not. It will populate everything that is there in the left table. And if it is not there in the right table, it will just produce null value in it.
But for left join also, we need to have a common attribute, right?
Yeah, so it is still going to be the ID. And if the other attributes are not there in the second table, it will just produce null in it. Right. So like let's say when we run this, so for sure in the second table we didn't have a department at all for ID number 5, right? In that case, since the second table is missing that value, it is just populating null over there.
Bala, I have one question here.
Yeah.
Where is this null declared?
Oh yeah, null is not something that is declared, right? So it is a special value in SQL. So let's say there is a difference, right? So let's say, for example, select, let's say A. Okay, so what will this written? A is a value, and this just gave you a text. Okay, so let's say we have another one. Like let's say select 1. So select one. What did this do is this is a number, right? This is a character, char, and this is a number, right? And let's say the third example. So this is just for the sake of giving a column name instead of having it as no column name, okay? And then let's say null, right? Example of null. So you see the color is also different. So basically null is null. You can't say whether null is equal to null. So null is a special character, right? So whenever the DB has some data that is not in the other side of the table, right? So that by default it understands it as null, right?
Okay.
So null is a important topic. Yeah, I would like to spend time on that. And by the way, there is something called as empty. So you see this? It looks empty, right? Is there anything here? But it is empty. There is nothing here. There is no space. It's just two single quotes joined together, right? So what does this means is that this is empty and this is not equal to this. Null is different, empty is different. So this is a number, this is a character. Let's say for example, I can even give a word, right? Word, example, right? We'll call this as word. So this is different, this is different, this is different, this is different, right? But the point that I'm trying to make is this null is something that will be populated or database particular, a special character kind of a thing, where null is something that will be populated when the other side table doesn't have a value for that related record, it will produce null, right? Does that helps?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, let's look at the right join. Okay. So people who have not understood left join, please do let me know. Left join and inner join. I am ready to repeat it like million times, but let's be very clear on the joins, right? I'm not bothered about other syntactical or something which is like update statement or some create table syntax and all, right? This is something that is super important for me, right? Anyone who's working on data, at least I mean this is something that will help you to make sense out of a data, and this will tell you how strong you are in a SQL database
I
language,
think,
right? Yeah,
Balaji, instead of going to right join, we can cover that in our next class also.
right,
Let's have more example about inner join and left join only. So right now we did with two table. Let's
right,
do it with three tables.
right. Okay, yeah, sure. So let's take if that is what people want, let's say let's do that, right?
You can have their opinion also.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, is there anyone who is having a different thoughts, or do you guys want to have a different topic to be covered, or what? I'm completely fine or open for suggestions.
Yeah, Balaji, as Varsha said, we can continue with the inner
Right,
and left join with
right,
multiple tables. Yeah.
right. Okay, fine. And yeah, and after this another 3 minutes or so, I'll give me 1 minute, guys. I'll let Anamika talk on that, like installation and the Excel import thing. Okay, but for now, let's get back to the left join complexities that we have, right? So let's say this is your first table, and this is your second table. And now I'm gonna add another table, which is your third table. Okay. So real quick, I had to create another table, and we will insert the data into it, right? What is the table name, or what is the concept that we were trying to develop the third table on?
Manager.
Yeah, rep table. So basically this is the manager table, right? And let's say we have ID and It's gonna be varchar, and the mgr varchar 100, right? And I'm just gonna create this table. Okay, so let's select star from this table, and obviously no surprise, there won't be anything. So insert into values, and there are just two columns, right? Let's say, yeah, one, and then here we have manager one, and second employee is also reporting to manager one, and third employee is reporting to manager two, and the fourth employee is also reporting to manager two. Okay, for the sake of introducing complexity, let's say some guy who's like some weird, yeah, 800, who's reporting to some manager at 10,000. Okay, so yeah, so let's run all of this all of these things together, and look this. Okay, this is all you have, right? And yeah, let's bring in this one also. Like, let's say I wantedly, okay, let's not bring in that complexity for now, right? So let's say yeah, let's pull this entire stuff above so that it doesn't disturb our actual flow. Okay, so right, this is our third table. Table 3, this is table 2, and this is our table 1. Okay. Okay, now let's run all of these three tables together and look how the data is, right? And let's, what is that third table that we created? Name? Table 3? Table rep table, right? Yeah. Let's run all of these three things together and see how the data looks, right? This is what your table 2, so that came next. This is your table 1, okay? Table 1 is like, it just has ID and name. Table 3 has ID and manager. Table 2 is the biggest table that we have, which has email, department, and salary that is extra. Okay, let's do left join with all of these three tables and see how to make that happen. Okay, this is our previous example, right? Okay, let me just put this and let's copy the same so that it doesn't creates complexity or confusion. Tell it along with me. Left join. This is your table A. This is your table B. On clause A dot ID. This is identity, and then let's say B dot ID, right? Okay, so this is because the second table that we have here is this is exactly the opposite. I'm just interchanging the table A and table B. Okay. And again, this by the way, yeah, you can change from this to this also, right? Let's first oh, sorry, ID, right? So let's first run this part. I don't know why that has a red symbol over there. This is just the plain and simple thing that we saw already, right? So now let's bring in the complexity of adding the third table here, right? Join. What is the third table name, guys? Rep table, right? We'll call this as table C, and on you can join it on A to C or B to C as well. Why? Because it's all the same, right? So let's say A dot ID is equal to C dot.
So we can take any common attribute from any of
Right,
the two
right.
tables.
But I would ideal world, I would say take this everyone used to bring up the primary table at the first, right? So on any given idle scenario, people tend to join it on the first table name, right? Unless and until, let's say you had to join this let's say instead of in the rep table, right? Instead of ID and manager, we had name and manager. Okay, and let's assume in table A you didn't have name, but table B you had name, and C doesn't have ID. In this case, instead of ID, you can bring them name. So basically, that is like a snowflake schema, right? Let's not bring in the jargons for now, but yeah, uh, you can do that. There is a possibility. Okay. So what did we just do is like this two fields comes from table A, and this comes from table 2, and this comes from table 3, right? And by the way, you don't have to write all of this as left join. You can even change this to right join or whichever the way that you want. But let me not, yeah. So any questions on like how did we join the third table?
Balaji, do we need to again add left join to add the third table? If I'm adding a fourth table, right, do I need to again type left join and
Yeah,
give a
you
name to
have
it?
to. You have to. So let's say, I mean, just for the fun fact, let's add the same another table with different alias. You can't give it with the same alias, okay? So we'll give another alias, and we will still connect it with the same this one, and we'll call B2. I mean B underscore 2 is the second table that we had, and let's bring an email ID to this, right? So you can do this way. So this is now just the same table. We just duplicated it with a different alias name here, and you just joined like you can keep joining a number of tables. Okay, I had seen like 80 different tables join in the single query, and we will have performance issue. But yeah, it's a possibility, right? Anyone is gonna speak, or we'll just keep idle, or we'll just keep quiet. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, well, I can continue, I guess.
okay, okay, guys. I think we'll stop for the today's class here, and I'll have to walk you guys through the how to install
But
SQL or
just one
yeah,
minute. Can you go
yeah,
back to the code for 1 minute?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, that's it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
any which ways, I do keep sending emails for you guys, right? So if you have any questions or doubt or anything, just reach out. But I might not be available all the time. But for sure, I can try helping people.
Balaji,
Yeah. Any
I have a doubt.
questions? Yeah. That.
On the on
Yeah.
statement,
Yeah.
so can we join two tables
Right.
if 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 the data type of the two things
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah,
is
good
same?
point brought in, right? So it's like, let's say if it is varchar and varchar, yeah, you can join, or in varchar and in varchar again, varchar you can again join, right? So where it will not be possible is like, let's say column A is a decimal, right? Let's say decimal 15 comma 0, and the column B is a varchar, right? In that case, you will have to cast it and replace that extra text that is getting formed, a dot that will get formed after you cast. But that's little advanced. We'll have to walk people on. I mean, we'll have to walk people on that as well. But yeah, that's a good question, though. Yeah,
Thank you, Balaji.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. Okay, guys. So let's give the opportunity. I mean, Anamika, you're on the call, right? Cool. I think Anamika will quickly start sharing her screen and then walk you guys through like how to import the data from an Excel to SQL. And people who haven't interacted with Anamika, Anamika is in my team, and she works to North America's commercial segment, right? And she has prepared a simple PPT that will explain like how to import data from Excel to a SQL, right? So yeah, please go ahead. I'll stop sharing my screen from my side. I think you can take it up. Thanks, Anamika, for preparing this slide. And again, Rajat, I think you can share it share how to install SQL on a email, right? That would help people, right? Because it is a lengthy process for people to sit on a call and understand that, right? Cool.
Okay, Balaji.
Awesome. So I'm just stopping the screen share from my side. Anamika, please go ahead.
Yeah, Balaji. So here we are importing Excel file into MS SQL. So uh, we have that MS SQL, sorry, um, SSMS with us, right? Hello, we have that. I'm able to speak, right?
You can continue explaining it.
Yeah, yeah. So we will go to the this database. Right click. We'll do. We'll click on task, and after that we'll go to import data. Then this thing will come, like how we'll selecting source to import. That Microsoft Excel. We'll select Microsoft Excel because we are selecting Excel file to import the data, and here we'll browse which file we need to browse, and after that we'll click next, and now we'll go to the now we will select that which server name we have to choose, and DB name also. So for after that again will select next, then this thing will comes, like step 4, select appropriate option, like uh, we can select copy data from one or more table or views, or if we want we'll select option 2 if in case we want to import first database to another database, but here in this case we will select first option. So after this step we'll go to this like here we will select from where here in this case we'll select which sheet we need to import. Here we have imported sheet 1, and then again next it will screen will come like whatever it's showing in step 6, so we can do next, and click then it will again come like this, and it is just finished the will finish this process, and after this it will be like this execution was successful, and if it won't be successful then it will come like this error thing will come, like sometimes this type of error will come. So for this removing that, solving this error, we can download the that server, that access database engine from this link. I have pasted this link here.
So yeah, good job, Anamika, right? So basically what Anamika is trying to help you guys is on, like, let's say you have a Excel and you are trying to import, and I think this was the most common error that everyone had, right? Like, let's say it wasn't allowing you to import. Why? Because some drivers or some patch file was missing. So just go to that link and it'll help you to download. So I'm just sharing the same presentation that she has already forwarded it to me, and that should help you guys, right? And yeah, that's it, guys. Anything else, you can catch up with me offline. Depends upon the availability, right? Other things should be fine, right? Yep. Hello.
Thank you, Balaji.
Yep. Thanks, Anamika.
Thank you, Balaji.
Yeah, thank you.
Balaji, in the email, can you please share the YouTube link for,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I see like some 2-3 folks has joined today,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can go through the link.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Or you can just, if possible, you can just have a call and explain them these are the links and how they can
Right.
go through
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I think I can just share my screen once. And by the way, there is a video that is created by Rajat from my team. I prefer calling him Raj. So he has uploaded that in this channel, and Let's go to our video channel, your channel. Yeah, so how to install MS SQL. So there is a video that is uploaded, and this will help you to see how to install MS SQL, right? You can use the same. So I'll share the video link as well as my channel. Is this one, right? Will that help? And this is to how to install MS SQL, and that you can parallelly open the video and the installation thing, and you can even look at the import Excel file that's attached and which was explained by Anamika, right? Yeah, any questions, guys? No questions? Hello? Hello?
Thanks, Balaji.
Awesome. Okay, guys, you guys can drop for now, and thank you so much for joining. Practice these things. We'll catch up for the next session.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Balaji.
Varsh. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks,
Thanks, Balaji.
Anamika.
Thank
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Guys.
Balaji.
Yeah.